besties to the FanTEAsy podcast where two besties spill all the delicious tea on the books we read. I'm Callie and my bestie is obviously Montana, and we are so, oh my God, elated, excited, screaming, externally, internally, kicking our feet. I can't make this up because we have the best guest today, our new bestie, Aubrey. Oh my God, she is our ultimate Queen Manon. It's too much. It's too much.
I can't.
Before we jump in to this episode, Montana, what era are you in?
Okay, well, I just fell into a world of void and I don't know what life is. I'm gonna go with Reputation because I'm feeling a little bit of a bad bitch, especially because we are sitting down with Aubrey, who literally, like you said, is the queen of Manon cosplay. She is Manon. Manon is her. She is beauty. She is grace. She is queen of the waste. I love that. Callie, what era are you in?
I was going right there with you. I'm Reputation. I feel like, I don't know. I just feel emboldened by her Manonness that I'm like, yep.
Absolutely.
Let's all channel our inner Manon, and I can't. Let's, without further ado, please welcome Aubrey. Okay, so everyone, please give us the warmest welcome for our friend and new bestie, Aubrey, our Queen Manon. We were just like internally screaming, kicking our feet, having the best time already. High honor.
Internally?
Please.
Externally.
Externally. Please tell us a little bit about you.
Oh my gosh. Where do I even begin? Like, I tried to, as an adult, put together my sales pitch that summarizes all of the things about me. I think the biggest punch list item, huge nerd, came to this community as a book lover, fandom lover, all of the things. SJM was kind of my gateway drug into the community, and here we are. But in the real world, I am a full-time immigration paralegal, which sounds about as fun as it is. But I'm a very data-driven person on one side of the brain, which is really interesting because on the other, I am creative to a fault. So in my real life, that's what I do. And as you can imagine, the past year or so has been wild for that sort of stuff. But I am a creative at heart, cosplayer, actor. I do a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you probably see here and there. And I've just been kind of weaseling my way into the community and finding new fun things to do and awesome people to meet. And it's brought me to you.
We're here for it. Okay. But seriously, what do you not do? You do everything. I swear. I'm just like, how? What?
So
also, when you were
really
saying,
think it.
Sorry,
No, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, like when you were talking data analytics and then your creative side, I'm like, so tell me, how type A are you?
So type A, so type A. If there was like a capital A, bold, italic, underline, I think I would qualify. I also think it's like a nice little combination of super high functioning ADHD, because legit, I never stop moving. Never. I almost do too much. There's a very fine line, where sometimes I'm approaching that line and I'm like, maybe I should sit down and have a drink of water. But for the most part, I'm very, very data driven, which again, what I do in my adult life, that tends to work out for me. But the same can be said for my creative side, because genuinely, if I am not creating something, whether it be, on a computer, I work with my hands, I do all things. If I am not creating something, I am a miserable shrew. Admittedly, it's real bad. So I am constantly just doing anything that like feeds that creative genius. And, then I do like a little adult work on the side.
As you should.
Priorities.
So something that Callie and I, what started as a joke between us a long time ago, has transitioned into the podcast. And now we ask all of our guests. We like to say we're self-proclaimed Swifties because we're like, yeah, we vibe. It's cool. And we will categorize our mood, our day, our life in general, just kind of whatever we're feeling into a Taylor Swift era. So if you had to pick, what Taylor Swift era are you in?
If you would have asked me like 6 months ago, I would have said Reputation. However, for whatever reason, I'm very much firmly planted in my Tortured Poets Department era right now.
Love it.
I don't know what
Firmly
it is,
planted.
sprinkling like a little bit of Midnight. But something about me screaming that entire album while I'm by myself in the car is like a cathartic experience. I don't know how else to describe it, but very much in my Tortured Poets era right now.
I love it. It's a great era to be in. There's no wrong answer. So
It's so good. It's so good. And I feel like it tickles something in my brain too, like creative wise, because that album is, I mean, all of her albums are stories, right? Storytelling. She's a genius. But something specifically about that one right now is striking some subconscious chord in my brain where I'm just like, I can envision full storylines to some of these songs, which is an ongoing problem of mine if you ask any of my friends or family. But music is a huge part of my life. And I tend to hyperfixate on certain songs that elicit certain moods or whatever. I was very much that child, and I feel like so many people in this community can relate. But I was very much that child when I was in the car and my parents were driving me around and like an emo song would come on and I would just longingly stare out the window and pretend I was in the music video.
It's me. Yes. Hi, I still do that. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Right? So that's just how I live my life. Just like one hyperfixation song to the next.
Queen of hyperfixation
actual literally, like Callie and I can so relate. We'll like pick a song. Okay, Boys Like Girls made a comeback a couple years ago, right? Love Boys Like Girls. And I sent it to Callie. I was like, Boys Like Girls is finally back. This is their new song, Blood and Sugar. We had to have listened to that song thousands of times that summer.
Nothing wrong with that.
It was like my top 5. I think that might have been my top 5 top song that summer. It was so bad. I was like, you got to move on, Callie. I can't. I hyperfixate so much
because I will go back to songs that I did that years ago and it still like elicits the same response. And I'm like, totally worth it.
Yep.
It almost puts you back too in that feeling, that realm, but hyperfixated so hard I like got a tattoo of song lyrics because I just couldn't. I was like, yep, I love it so much. I have to have it.
Love that.
So Tortured Poets Department then reminds me, because that is just like, but Daddy, I love him, but Daddy, I can fix him. Our King Dorian, Black Dog, please stop, all of them. Sorry, but like we have to know. Because you are quite literally like the bitch queen, Manon. You're working and owning multiple businesses. You are just a complete boss-ass bitch, cosplay queen. What is it like to be cauldron blessed? I'm sorry, we're so far below you. What? Peasants over here.
It's so funny. And I mean, I said this before, I'm really just like a nerd in a white wig, right? Like that's the reality of the situation. But I also genuinely, it's that ongoing support from the friends that I've made in the community itself, because before having found this community, I would still have all of these crazy ideas and all these crazy things that I wanted to do. But, there's always that little voice in your head that's like, what are people going to think? What if they don't like it? And now that I've moved past that, And I'm also in my 30s.
No, you're not.
Oh, what?
I'm actually 500 years old.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
What
But
are we
you
talking
Which is
you
Stone
look
Age.
like 21, so
Ooh,
What are we
which is
talking
Stone
about?
Age.
But now I've just gotten to that point where A, I don't care, which helps. But B, I also have surrounded myself by people who like feed that creativity. And I'll say, I'll text Connor and Maddie from Bardic Book Club and I'll be like, I have a crazy idea. And they're like, I don't even care what it is. Let's do it. And like same thing with Taylor. Like I'll text Taylor and be like, if we wanted to film something like this, and then I send her a video that's basically a shot list to music and be like, what do you think? And so I have these people now in my, bubble who are just like, just do it. Just do it. Whatever it is, just do it. So for the past, I think we're going on 2 years now, maybe a little over 2 years. I just have not been hindering myself or letting the outside world hinder me. So I'll be like, I want to make this thing. Like, I want to make Godslayer from Present City. And then I just go and do it. And it works out in the end, one way or another. But it's just, again, I think it's a result of being surrounded by the right people and, not letting that very small inner voice like worry about what other people think or any of that stuff. And then, high functioning ADHD has a lot to do with it.
felt.
So I think that's how I get it done.
How many things can I add to my daily to-do?
It wouldn't be a proper interview with Aubrey without Celsius. # not sponsored. Should be sponsored.
Should be sponsored.
Celsius sponsors.
I think maybe this has a lot to do with it, but
I'm like, yep, felt it in our souls, but AKA you were just cauldron blessed, plain and simple, easy answer.
I don't know about that. I tend to think, and it's funny because Kate, who's another dear friend of mine, she used to say the same thing. She'd be like, the cauldron made you. And I'd be like, I don't think it was the cauldron. I feel like it was something scarier. Yep. And so now her term of endearment for me is Gremlin of Chaos.
Fitting.
So I'm going to get that on a shirt, I think. But I certainly, I have my good days and bad where, I wake up and I feel that way. And I'm like, I'm going to do all of these things. I'm going to film all this content. And then reality sets in and I'm like, oh, shoot, I have to adult today. But the fact that you even think that is reality, even a little bit, that I'm cauldron blessed, like, I'll take it.
We're here for it. Absolutely here for it. Okay. Just to make sure I'm saying it correctly, your business, is it Compendio? Is it Compendo?
One of the many, yes. So Compendio.
Compendio. Okay, so tell us about Compendio.
Yeah, very huge Harry Potter nerd.
Say
a lot. That's where a lot of my lore comes from, growing up in the time of Harry Potter. So, I mean, it was something that was in the back of my brain for a really, really, really long time. And I thought, how can I bring all of my skills together kind of in one place for this community specifically? So with Compendio, I thought, okay, well, my strong suits in the creative world include making tangible things, our props, all the crafty, nifty, fun things that you see here, there, whimsy gossip, all the things. Love that. But then also bringing in, my expertise when it comes to coordinating and event planning and all this other stuff. And it kind of turned into this amalgamation of all of these magical things coming together in one spot. And so the original thought was, okay, well, I can turn this into almost like a service and present it to different events that were taking place out there. And I mean, go back a year ago and the explosion of like fantasy type events, it was out there. And I'm sure you still see it now. You know, every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there is like, let's have a fantasy event. And a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is and how much
A million lives.
yeah, how much responsibility and accountability falls on your shoulders
Yeah.
if you are willing to say that I'm going to do this. So I had kind of put it out there, and it's interesting because it reached folks within this community, but it actually reached further than I thought it would. So, for example, I'm coordinating a wedding that's taking place this weekend. It's not necessarily part of the book and fantasy community, but it's someone who found it and was like, I want my wedding to feel like this.
Oh,
Can you do it?
Yes.
So I've been doing so much of that on the back end. And a lot of it is, you know, some people are part of the bookish community and the fantasy community, but a lot of them are people who were here, but they want to take it into their real life. They may not be, you know, a fantasy event company, but they're getting married, or they want to have an Avatar themed bachelorette party, or they want to do a Pink Pony Club bachelorette, like just, you know, all of the things. So it's been far reaching in that aspect. And then a lot of the other stuff is mostly behind the scenes. So a lot of I did all of the coordinating for Whimsy Gossip, chapter 70 and 65. So it's like you don't necessarily see my face on the screen, which okay with that. But you know, between making the cauldron and coordinating all the extras and all of the things that you don't necessarily see in the final product, that's where Compendio has come in.
Very cool.
Just
doing all the things, I swear.
All the things.
And wedding plan, like that's literally what I compare it to when people are like, "Oh, we're gonna do a fantasy ball." I'm like, "Can you put on a wedding?" Because that's like the level that it's at. Like you're hosting hundreds, sometimes thousands of people.
It's even more so. Yeah, it's even more so than that, because my biggest thing too, especially with these events, and they're either done, like there's definitely a spectrum, but you know, people are not shy about sharing their feedback for these sort of things.
No, yeah.
And that feedback alone will make or break your business. And so I think it's so important to critically think about every single human being that is going to be present at these sort of things, from start to finish, even like months ahead of time and months afterward. Because if you do it wrong, you're only going to do it once.
We'll know. Yeah, we will know.
Everyone will know.
And you will know. And the biggest thing for me too is, you know, what I do on the Compendio side, or even what I do with my cosplay stuff, or if I'm photographing or filming other people, and anyone can tell you this, but even for as like black cat energy as I am, my love language is acts of service. So I make it a point to make every single person feel like the main character and have their main character moment. That is so, so important to me. And so there's a lot of, you know, stuff out there. There's a lot of events. There's a lot of things out there that, you know, you got to do your research. You got to talk to the right people and make sure that that's a priority. Because everyone wants their main character moment, like myself included. But, you know, everyone wants to feel special at these sort of things, which is why it's so important to think about literally everything and then some.
I love it.
I do too. And speaking of being main character energy, the multifaceted, talented business owner that you are, can you tell us a little bit more about Once Upon an Atelier, and how did that journey start for you, as far as like that being like such a like creative outlet?
So for the most part, OUA is my design kind of powerhouse. So all of my creative stuff that's up here, and that whatever comes out right here or on my computer, Once Upon a Atelier is the design house for it. So there are a slew of people out there within our community and outside of that that need help with things like personal branding, or even branding for their business, or they just want their account to have a certain theme or a feel or what have you. So OUA is just kind of my in-house design studio, where I know it seems silly, but when you're talking about businesses, and I've been doing this for a really long time, you have kind of tangible stuff and you have service-related stuff. And so for me, it's important to keep those two things separate, because not everyone wants both of those things at the same time. Mm-hmm. So a lot of my physically making, designing, putting out into the universe, making real is Once Upon a Atelier. And then the compendio side is more of the execution and consulting of and coordinating of different things. Mm-hmm. So Once Upon a Atelier, again, kind of came from me needing to streamline certain aspects of my very multifaceted personality and skill set into one bucket. And mm-hmm. so that was the Once Upon a Atelier bucket. And then the compendio is the other bucket.
I love it. Just so many things.
So many
things. Obviously, you are just very creative and have made so many incredible pieces. Do you have a favorite that you've made?
I think it's really hard. So I think the first thing that I ever made that had me kind of step back and go, damn, like, who is she? Was definitely the Godslayer rifle that I made for High Lady Joe.
That's my favorite.
So good.
That thing, I mean, you see it in pictures, you might see it in video, but in person, it is legit. She's heavy. It is, so it will work as like an airsoft, mm-hmm. but it is non-functioning. But it's got heft to it. Like, it is an actual, genuine, we'll call it a replica. Mm-hmm. And I did my research, and I really based it off of not only the description within Crescent City, but also, talking to friends and Joe and everything. And I surprised Joe with it. So that was definitely the first, like, whoa, my first love, I think, in terms of like bookish fantasy props that I've done. But most recently, I mean, definitely the Cauldron from 65 for Lindsay Gossip. She, labor of love, and I would do it again. But she took about 4 months total from start to finish.
A beast.
And huge. She's 5 foot in diameter. She's about 3 3/4 foot tall. Mm-hmm. And kind of the challenge there too was it needed to be transportable. Right. You needed to be able to get it to a set. It needed to fit in like my vehicle in order to get it places. So yeah, I made this huge thing and handed all of the designs and the aging and I mean everything about it. And then in talking to the rest of our production crew, I was like, hypothetically, if we're thinking practical effects versus like post CGI, whatever, when it comes to like this thing, it's kind of like a living thing. Like it needs to have some sort of like sentience. So I was like, what if I hooked it up to a fog machine? And they were like, Aubrey, do whatever you want.
Why
I was
not?
Like, cool.
Uh-huh. Yes, please.
So I retrofitted it. I mean, you should have seen me. I'm like, the people at the hardware store like know me by name, but I come in and I'm like, I don't know what I need, but this is what I'm thinking. And so I just bought a bunch of stuff and tested it a bunch of times, and I think you've probably seen a few, like maybe little tiny sneak peeks of it. But that cauldron, I tell you what, that was an accomplishment. It was a feat. And then to have it all put together, and then it was the morning of day one shooting, where I was traveling to Maryland. I had to cut it. In quarters in order to get it up from my studio, which is in my basement, and get it through a standard size door, and then put it in my vehicle. So at 5 a.m. on like a Thursday, I had my Sawzall out, just cutting it into quarters, like sweating. But we got it done, and it worked out, and it was beautiful. But I think that is probably my favorite.
The anxiety I feel knowing you had to cut it apart. Yeah,
I'm like, I'm stressed.
It was full body sweats. Like, I was standing there. I don't know if you've ever held the Sawzall before, but I mean, they're heavy, they're big, they have the blade on the end, and I'm like, I have to do this. Like, there's no other choice. It was just full body sweats, and I marked it with chalk, and I was like, okay, here we go at 5 a.m. But we got it done. It worked out perfectly. And I think in 65, I think people will be, I hope anyway, people will be pleasantly surprised to see it in real life.
They will be.
We'll be in awe for sure.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of,
I can't wait.
Whimsy. Oh, seriously. Speaking of whimsy gossip, can you tell us what it is like, what your time was like working with Whimsy Gossip and Valente?
I mean, nothing short of amazing. You talk about two people who, you know, dreamers. We're all dreamers, right? Most of us in this community, if you're a reader, you tend to be a dreamer. But, I mean, you talk about two people just pouring every single ounce of energy and emotion and time and bandwidth into, you know, something that it's not going to make you any money purposefully, and B, is really just about fulfilling this like overwhelming need for magic. I mean, that's what it is. That's what it boils down to. And just the sweetest, most genuinely like loving people on the face of the planet. And I met them, over 2 years ago. I actually met them in person at the Chapter 54 premiere in Maryland. I went with Hi Lady Joe and met them, and we had like the little after party thing. And Taylor, this should have been my first clue. Taylor comes up to me and she goes, "I'm so obsessed with you." And I go, "Why?" She's like, "You're just so cool." I'm like, I swear to you, I'm not. I'm just like really socially awkward, and these are a lot of people, and maybe I seem really mysterious as like I'm actually just having a silent panic attack. And she was like, "No, like you're so cool." And so it just kind of started this dialogue, and you know, I got to know her and Val. Like, we got close very, very quickly, and you know, they kind of got to know all of this stuff that I hadn't really put like out onto the internet, about me and my skill set and where I came from and what I like to do. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, like, do you want to do this sort of stuff? Like, do you want to join us?" And I was like, "Say less. How can I help?" Which then, I mean, it leads us into chapter 70. I was like, "Just, if you want me to coordinate, I will happily coordinate." And they're like, "Yes, please." So that was really great. And, you know, getting to see them both in front of the camera is like, it still like makes me emotional. But once we started talking about 65, I remember we were in the very, very early stages of just talking about what chapter 65 would look like. And they were like, "Well, you know, the whole scene revolves around this cauldron. Like, what are we going to do?" And I was like, pick me. Can I can I make the cauldron? And they were like, what do you mean? I was like, can I make it? They're like, you would do that? And I was like, will you let me? And that's where it kind of just spiraled after that. But they are so hardworking. They pour absolutely, I mean, everything into not only making these films happen, but finding, you know, the best people who have kind of the same philosophy, right? Like, you know, they're not necessarily in it for any sort of self-service. Like, they're not in it for whatever gain they can get out of it, but they're doing this because they believe in bringing this sort of stuff to life, and doing it well. So it's just, you know, it's completely volunteer based, and, you know, the people that are coming out of the woodwork and just pouring their talents and their energy and their time and everything into making this possible. I mean, there's so much effort that goes into putting these things on, and I could not think of two better people to like make it happen. They've brought so many people together, just by doing what they thought was a crazy idea at first. And I mean, it's hundreds, and if not thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that, you know, they've touched with this work. So.
That love and adore.
Well,
And
even,
yes.
yeah. And like my first exposure to the fan films was You Do Not Yield. I tell you, I can't. So before our episode with Valente, we went and rewatched everything. So we were like, you know, fresh memory of all the different films and whatnot. And it was like, Aubrey's Mama Aylin, and now I'm sobbing and I just want to cry because it's so emotional.
It was, and again, that was one of those things where, you know, I was getting to know Taylor and Val, and, you know, we were spending more time together and just like building each other up. You know, I am like the yes man when it comes to doing anything creative. I'm like, yeah, just do it. And so I remember it was probably 9 o'clock on like a random Tuesday, and I get a text from Taylor and Val, like in our little group text, and they were like, so hypothetically, if we were to do this thing, would you want to be Evelyn Gallifianakis? And I was like, do I even need to respond? Like, I don't even care what it is. Like, yes. And so it was a very small scale thing. I mean, we shot it in Taylor's basement, and Val, I think, was 6 or 7 months pregnant at the time. And there was, I mean, it's a shorter scene, obviously, but there was the dialogue alone. I mean, it was very like Evelyn heavy in terms of dialogue, but that scene itself is just so emotional and like poignant, everything about it.
Devastating.
So there really wasn't, I mean, there was a little bit of prep, right? There was a little bit of prep for me in terms of like memorizing lines and stuff. But the way that I approached it was very, very much from like the mom point of view. And I think we talked about it a little bit on the Whimsy Gossip episode that I did with them. We did a little interview about it. But in preparing for the scene, I showed up at Taylor's house. It was the night before filming. And, you know, we were just talking about, you know, what it was going to feel like, and, you know, what it was going to look like. And, you know, there was a very specific tone to my voice that I wanted to have. And so I was working on that with Taylor a little bit. And I said, you know, this is kind of where I'm coming from with this. You know, Aylin's mom is coming to her in a moment of distress, of desperation. And I said, in the grand scheme of things, we don't know, you know, if this was an apparition, if this was a hallucination, if this was, like, we don't know. But needless to say, Evelyn shows up, and in my mind, as an actor, I thought, well, Evelyn really has only ever experienced 8-year-old Aylin. She doesn't know adult Aylin.
Mhm.
She knows 8-year-old Aylin. That's the last time that she ever interacted with her.
Mhm.
So as a mom, and I'm sure you can, this is relatable, but when
Mhm.
your child is in distress, your small child, 8-year-old child, you don't talk to them or try to calm them down by like trying to rationalize the situation.
Yeah.
Like, you don't do that. It's more about comforting them and telling them everything's going to be okay, and using your most soothing tone of voice, and speaking at their level. And so reading through the dialogue and reading the chapter a million times, I had said to both Taylor and Val, like, this is how I'm going to come at it. Like, I'm speaking to 8-year-old Aylin. I'm not speaking to 20-something-year-old Aylin.
Yeah.
And in preparation for it, I got my, at the time, 7-year-old daughter. And I said, hey, can you help me with something? It was a couple days before we filmed. And I was like, can you just stand right here? And I filmed it, which I'm so glad I did. And I said, Mommy's going to say just like a bunch of silly things that are not going to make any sense to you. And I was like, but I just want you to stand there and look at me. And whatever your face ends up doing or whatever you feel, I was like, you just be, her name's Cece. I was like, you just be Cece. And so I hit record and I did the dialogue, and my 7-year-old like starts tearing up.
I am like so emotional right now.
I mean, she was like reacting to what I was saying because, I'm like, you've been so brave. You've been so brave for so long, but you just have to be brave for a little bit longer. And I mean, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. So she's looking at me and she has these tears in her eyes, and she's shaking her head at me. And we did it just the one time, and I got it on film, and I was like, that's all I needed. That's all I needed. And so I get in that coffin with Val, and she already, she had heard the story, she had watched the video, and it was just kind of like this full circle moment. And, I'm staring at Val, right? And I'm just like picturing my 7-year-old daughter. And it was a very, very, emotional scene and everything. And I remember the first time that we went all the way through it, they called cut. And like I look up from this coffin, and Taylor's over here, and our director Sierra's over here, and Wes the camera guy's over here, and like everybody's like got tears and stuff. And I was like, oh, these are bad tears. Like, do we need to do it again?
Yeah.
And
You're making us cry. It's
phenomenal.
I know. I'm like, pull it together, gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, but like, in what other, other space, right? Not only were these, friends and everything, these were people that were equally passionate about what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
So just being in Taylor's basement for 8 hours or whatever we were, the creative energy that just circulates, like, is just absolutely wild. So, I plan to continue working with them and provide my talents in whatever way they'll have me. But yeah, You Do Not Yield was definitely, it was a good one.
I can't. I cannot. I need to pull my shit together right now.
Yeah, I couldn't watch that one until after I finished all of Throne of Glass, and that wasn't until, I don't know, a few months ago. March? Is that when I finished?
First read through?
Yes. And so then, oh my God. Yeah, just that whole thing was just, I have to stop talking about it because
I know. Like, whew.
Those books
it's so, I mean, and that's what I love about Throne of Glass. It's just like this, it just affects you on like a molecular level.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to kind of explain that to people who haven't read the series before. But the characters are just, they're so rich. And the writing and like just the imagery, everything about it, like Throne of Glass is like, I will never recover, ever.
Never.
No. I just talking about it, like, I'm so emotional. Yeah. I have not cried that hard ever reading anything. And yeah, as soon as I was done, I was like, now I need to go back to the beginning. I'm giving myself a little bit of a break, but knowing that the graphic audios are coming out, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to revisit. Ugh.
Those are gonna kill me.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
oh my God. Oh my God.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
you know, for me, when I was reading Akatar in Wings and Ruins, Nesta, oh God, I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. Nesta calling Cassian out of battle, right? I sobbed. And then I've done the graphic audios a handful of times. Every single time I have to, I'm like, okay, I cried. I have to do it again because I need to hurt some more.
I am ready to be hurt again.
I'm
So
ready to
I
be heard
just
again.
know, oh my gosh, especially in Kingdom of Ash. When you
Yep.
hear that first line, this is Imogen went down first. I'm like, nope. No
Yep.
one talk to me. Everyone leave me alone. These are my friends.
I have
Yeah.
never been more pissed off and hurt. Just
So valid. So valid.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
obviously you have cosplayed well, we know you are the Queen Manon. We've said it a million times, we'll say it a million more. Like literally we'll always see you. But aside from Manon, and I'm really hoping it's the person that is in my head, who is your favorite character to cosplay?
I mean, I'm very partial to Jessica.
That was who I wanted.
I'm very partial to Jessica. And I think part of that too is like she's very much cut from the same cloth as Manon, and
Yeah.
obviously we don't know the lore behind any of that now and any of that stuff. But I mean, like a lot of very similar personality traits, just modernized a little bit. But I mean, she's just obviously it's easier to cosplay and portray characters that you relate to. So which is why I think Manon just comes so easily to me. But Jessica is kind of in that same vein. She's, she's a boss bitch and she doesn't take shit from anybody. And, she's very unapologetic, which, in the past decade of my life, I've definitely evolved into that. And she just doesn't, I don't want to say she doesn't care, but she probably cares too much. And the outward expression is very laissez-faire, which again I can relate to a lot because at all times, it's funny because my husband, God bless him, this was probably a year ago. I have no idea what we were talking about, but he said something along the lines of, I've just got a lot going on in my brain right now, and those 47 thoughts a minute, is just really overwhelming right now. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, the average person has 47 thoughts a minute. And I was like, buddy, I have about 400 thoughts a second.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? So I very much relate to that kind of, for lack of a better term, that like mastermind, the wheels are always turning, kind of you're always plotting, always planning, always thinking 27 steps ahead. I can very much relate to that Jessica aesthetic where it's like I do so much behind the scenes that nobody will ever know about, nobody will ever hear, and I'm totally fine with that. Because if it leads to somebody else like succeeding or finding magic or feeling good about themselves, like whatever. If I had to be the like puppet master behind the scenes in order to make it happen, that's totally fine with me.
I was just like, fingers crossed, please say Jespa, because it's just like,
yes,
that's the other one. I'm like, that is just like scratching the itch in my brain because I didn't know I needed it until I saw it, and I was like, this was perfection. Oh my gosh.
You're gonna laugh though, because earlier today I said to both Kate and Taylor, I said, would it be weird if I wore my Jessica wig to the interview? No, and they were both like, Kate said, oh, you better. And Taylor said, do it. It's iconic.
It is iconic.
And And I was just like, I was this close to wearing it, like this close. But then I went with just like back pony.
Next time.
Wouldn't have even,
We can all show up.
Oh,
We're all just gonna
yes.
show up in wigs and full cosplay and just be like, "What's up?"
Here we are.
Wigs and wine. That's like the
I don't know why
best
we
girls'
haven't
night
done
ever.
that for an episode yet. Like, we've done PJs
I need you
and
to do
cocktails, but
Yeah.
like, why haven't we done wigs?
Please do wigs. So fun.
We literally say, we're like, we need to get more wigs for days we don't want to do our hair.
100%.
That was me this morning. I was like, because again, it's 1,000,000 degrees here.
Same.
I was like, I'm not ready to commit to. I have naturally very, very, very curly hair.
Me too.
And so I was like, I'm just not. I'm not in the mood. So I almost plopped on that wig. She's up on my bathroom counter right now.
Like, I see you, girl. You
I
just
see
might
you.
have to get on there.
need you to
I
show up
tell
as
like
Manon.
Callie and my husband, it's literally, oh my gosh, showing up as Manon, just like, oh, hi, scary bitch, love this.
I do that a lot. Actually, it's funny because we'll like get together as friends and we're like, okay, yeah, we'll go to this one place and we'll do photo shoots and stuff. And I'm like, what should I wear? Who should I be? And it doesn't matter what my plan is. I just show up as Manon.
I love.
As you should.
Just how it goes.
Comfort.
As you should. I'm like, there's a dagger up here that I had made for a Manon look. There's her crown of stars. I'm like, I got a white wig sitting over here and armor.
I'm telling you, it's something about putting on that white wig, the nails,
Yep.
the red lip, and giving zero fucks about anything. It's really empowering.
It's true. It's very true. And my dad and I we recently went rock climbing, and I was like, no, I have to figure this out because a dragon, a wyvern would not bond a weak ass bitch. And he's like, what? Because he doesn't know. And I was like, look, I want to be the witch queen. I want a dragon. He's like, done. So I'm like bouldering with him. He's like, that dragon would choose you.
Easily.
Yep.
Easily. I mean, I feel like that is my motivation for at least 50% of every day. Like, I wake up in the morning and I'm typically a very early riser. I get my workout in, even when I don't want to. And I'll go, but what would Manon do? She would say, stop being a bitch and get downstairs and work out. And then I always feel better after.
We all need matching bracelets.
That's how I live most of my life.
All right, I'm gonna make us all matching friendship bracelets. What would Manon do?
I love it.
That would be great.
The love for Manon is deep, but does the love go as far as Dorian being your ultimate book boyfriend, or do you have someone that's like higher than him?
Excellent question. Dorian is definitely, he's my guy. He's my dude. I genuinely, with my, and you'll laugh, and people who know me will understand this, I always say with my whole ass, because I would say my heart, but my ass is bigger. With my whole ass, I believe that there is more to the Dorian and Manon story.
Yes, there has to be.
And not convince me otherwise.
100%.
And I mean, you talk about everyone, I feel like, in Throne of Glass has a huge character arc, most of them, right? But I feel like, specifically, we are left with this like little bit of cliffhanger with Manon and Dorian, and they are both so multifaceted, and they both have made such huge strides and had all these like crazy experiences and all this stuff, and they've grown as people. And but then we get to the end of Kingdom of Ash, And you get that final scene with them, and Dorian's like, well, like, where are you gonna go? And she's very casually like, well, I'm gonna go to the waste, you idiot. And he's like, well, maybe like you can like visit sometime. And she's got this little smirk, and then just like rides off on Abraxos, and it's like, well, what the f? Clearly they're gonna end up together, but like how?
We need more.
How is that gonna happen? So Dorian is like right here for me. Homeboy has been through so much, and I feel like there's so much about him, like lore wise. There's all these different connections between his physical appearance and his abilities and all these other things. There's all these other connections, just like all the other loaded guns in the SJM universe. So I think it's maybe a little bit of that angst there where I'm like, I need more information. So he's my guy. He will forever be my guy. Yeah. And I think basically my husband is also the physical embodiment of Dorian. So there's that.
Oh,
that helps a lot.
Winning.
Big time.
Best
again, cauldron blessed? What?
Yeah. Add it to the list.
Very fortunate.
Oh my gosh. No, Dorian's definitely a top, especially in Throne of Glass. Like in Throne of Glass, I'm like, Dorian, Lorcan, I love you both.
Yep. And somehow both of them
so I'm like, I just have to pick. Like, oh my gosh. Everyone's like, Rowan. I'm like, no. Shut up, sit down.
He's over here. They're way
up
here.
Kind of indifferent.
He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
Him.
I'm sure he's great to look at. I'm just
but he is not Dorian. He is not
like a wet blanket. Pretty useless.
Oh my gosh.
He's fine. I'm just indifferent.
Wait, okay, so between the other SJM universes, book boyfriends in each one.
So I have a very soft spot in my heart for Rune Dannon. I can't explain it.
He's my man.
Other than I feel like he and Manon, just go with me here. I feel like he and Manon would, like, for whatever reason, have a very kind of like strange kinship.
Yeah.
A little bit. I don't know why. That's just the vibes that I'm getting. But I do have a little soft spot in my heart for Rune. On the ACOTAR side, I am a Cassian girly.
Oh my gosh, I knew it. I'm like, you get us because Cassian
I was like, I just feel like, yep.
I am
like the vibes are here. We all are picking the same men.
Yep.
Love that for us.
We can share. It's fine.
I've always been a Cassian girly.
Yep.
But I also have this sneaking suspicion, and it's so funny because Stephen Walker, just a couple of days ago, I think, did his post about Cassian showing up in the Throne of Glass world.
Yep.
Right? Yep. And I was just like, oh, that got me really thinking about it. And I'm like, okay, so hypothetically, if these worlds were to collide, Manon would absolutely loathe Cassian.
Yeah, he's too
on the outside. Yeah, on the outside.
I really love him.
But on the inside, if anybody even breathed or looked sideways at him, she would kill them.
Yep.
Immediately.
Yep.
Without question. Because it's almost like I can be mean to him, but you can't.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, that is stuck in my brain now. So thanks to Stephen Walker for prompting that. But yeah, definitely a Cassian girly.
We're right there with you. And then Stephen also doing Cassian going to the Autumn Court. Like, you just made the Autumn Court basic white girl heaven. And honestly, you know what? Like, yes, let's go carve pumpkins and go to Target. I'm here for it. Autumn Court.
Pumpkin spice
Stephen
lattes.
Walker, what a gem.
Best human ever. Literally the best human ever.
Seriously, the best. Mm-hmm. Hands down.
He is.
I swear
He
comes up he is. And he comes up quite a few times in like just the most random ways in interviews. And we're like, yes, let us tell you about our Lord and Savior Stephen, because literally just like the best human, so kind, so genuine. Like it's not even just the fact that he's funny. He is just the most down to earth person who will sit there and be like, yeah, you want to have a real conversation? Let's do it. And I'm just like, I love you for that.
Yeah, good human. Big time.
Very good
Yep.
human.
Okay. What was not so good? Because you really emotionally damaged me here. Manon passing on into whatever is next for the witchlings and
Don't
seeing
cry again.
Astrid and the hunter with the baby bump. Did you at least kiss the brick before you threw it at my damn face?
Absolutely not. It's so incredible how this came to happen to begin with, because probably it's got to be a year ago, going on a year ago. I had this thought in my brain after like my 5th reread of Throne of Glass, thinking about what the future would look like for all of these different characters. And shameless plug, like we're planning other things to film that are kind of forward facing, future facing, because we don't know what that looks like. So it's anybody's best guess. So creative liberty. But I had this thought about kind of what it would look like, because the witches, we know that they are basically immortal. And there's all these different theories about what actually happened when the 13 made the yielding and all this stuff. Like, did they die? Did they walk to a different world? Did they, whatever, which I don't think they died.
Nope.
But,
Yeah. Hello, we are here.
Yep.
But I thought, okay, let's fast forward hundreds and hundreds of years, right? Let's say we stay in the vein, we'll just, go with ignorance and say, the 13 died. And eventually, one way or another, let's say Manon dies. But she does it at a ripe old age, like old. Taking kind of Dorian out of the equation a little bit. But, when she got to be this old lady, warm in her bed, and like passes away, whether it's from old age or she fought her last battle, whatever. We see these videos all the time on TikTok where it's like, when you die and you show up in heaven, who's the first person that'll greet you? And they get me every time, because whether it's a dog or a cat or a relative or whoever.
Yes.
Damn it.
They get me every time. So I thought, what would that look like for Manon? So about a year ago, I had said to Taylor, I said, I have this kind of idea that's just floating around in my brain. If we ever get time to do it, this is kind of what I'm thinking. And of course, Taylor being Taylor was like, let's do it. But then, we're doing all these other millions of different things, and it was always kind of on the back burner. And so when we were going to get together a couple of months ago now, that song, again, my hyperfixation with songs, that song by Morgan Clay, which is called The Silence, had been playing in my brain just kind of on repeat. And I saw this specific scene unfolding where it's like, okay, Manon has lived her thousands of years, whatever it is. She dies a warm lady in her bed, a lady warm in her bed. And she shows up in heaven or wherever you go in the SJM universe. And like, who's the first person that's going to greet her? And I thought, for sure, like, it's going to be Astrid, because before Dorian, I truly, truly believe that Astrid was the love of Manon's life, whether she knew it or not. And I think there's a lot of regret there and a lot of what ifs there.
Mhm.
And so I genuinely think, whenever she crosses that bridge or whatever, that Astron's going to be his first one. And then on top of that, Taylor was very much pregnant at the time. And, Astron, that was the first time she's ever told Manon that story. They're on that cliff and she tells her about being pregnant and the baby and the whole thing and, her trauma and everything that happened there. And that's a real turning point for Manon, huge turning point to say, oh my God, our monster's born or made sort of situation. I didn't know about any of this stuff. So I came to Taylor about a week before we were going to meet up and just have a creative, fun content day. And I was like, here's what I'm thinking. And I sent her my little video shot list that I tend to send people when I have a really crazy idea. And I sent it to her and I think she was at work. And she's like, why are you making me ugly cry at work? And I said, I'm so sorry. But it was one of the last things that we filmed on this kind of outing that we had that one day. And it was a beautiful, actual moment between the two of us too. I mean, Taylor is pregnant in real life and she's going to have a little girl, and it was just it was grounded very much in reality. And I thought, gosh, this to me, it felt very, very real. And I knew that it was going to hit really, really hard. And, Kate is standing in the background up there just sobbing away as we're filming. But it was really special and it was really beautiful. And I still, I can't watch it without getting teary-eyed.
I can't think about it without getting teary-eyed. So
no, it hurt every part of my being.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're not.
No.
All of the most amazing things in the past couple years, but we want to focus on oh my God, seriously, the list goes on. What exciting things do you and your businesses have for the remainder of this year, early next year?
Yeah, I just, I've got, let's see, in the next couple of months, we've got, so Bardic Book Club is doing an inner circle retreat, the first one. So I'll be there helping coordinate all the things, doing some photography and filming content, stuff, again, behind the scenes. So I'm really excited for that. We'll be flying out to see Connor and Maddie in Utah. And then got some more kind of Friendsgiving stuff as we get into the winter months. And then when it comes to Compendio and Once Upon a Atelier stuff, so I haven't announced this yet anywhere, but I've also been hard at work. I'm actually going to be opening a retail store situation.
No way.
Which is what I originally did a couple of years ago before I moved to Philly. I own my own business, and it was very successful, and I sold it, and it's still chugging away in New York. But now that we've been kind of down here on the Philly area, it just kind of felt like the right time. So putting all of those pieces together, and it's got its own vibe, and fun things are happening there. But yeah, a lot of stuff has been happening in the background with coordinating and creative stuff and weddings and all this other stuff. So I'm doing a ton in the background, and I've definitely been slacking on my content posting just because I've been so busy.
Same.
But there's 1,000,002 drafts and stuff in the queue. So at some point when life maybe slows down a little bit, I'm gonna slip back into Manon here in the next couple of months, and give the people what they demand.
So many exciting things, though.
Yeah, it's good.
But also, when the retail store is, moving along, let us know. Maybe at that point in time, we could go to the grand opening. So
I will let you know for sure.
Please.
Would be amazing. I mean, I've never been to Philly, so
yeah, no.
Philly is Philly. We're kind of right on the outskirts, kind of more in the suburban area, but yeah, it's a good spot to be in down here. Very supportive of small business and
Good.
great area and no complaints.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe that's our reason to go down there for the first time, right?
There you go.
We love the
And
East
you know,
Coast.
if you're
Trying to get out
ever
there again.
in, yeah, and if you're ever in like our neck of the woods, you know, Callie being in Nebraska, I'm in Arizona, please, by all means, let us know.
Like I said, I plan to be out towards Utah, and then, so like, let's see, Grayson's down in Texas, Maddie and Connor are in Utah, so it's like I feel like we're gonna start doing more things, kind of more out west. So you never know.
We'll manifest a meetup because we need this. It just has to
Yes.
happen. We all need to just like merge together and just nerd out and have the best time.
I would love nothing more.
We need Manon and her 13 and all the Manons meet up.
Yes.
If I do nothing else with the rest of my life, that is like goal number one.
Yep.
We will be there.
Manon-verse.
Callie and I joke. I'm like, yes, you're my Astron, but also like there's another event that we're in talks with, and she's like, could I just be your Abraxas? I was like, dude, I will spend like 6 hours giving you the most badass special effects makeup right now, and yes, go.
I feel like
If
that's
we do
like
that,
more my
that's also an
personality.
option.
Yes.
A flower loving, beautiful wyvern. Yeah.
You will laugh, but when I went to the Eras tour last October, I went in New Orleans. I dressed up as Reputation era Manon, and one of my besties, Jess, dressed up as Abraxos. She had a little pair of wings.
Okay, we need these pictures right now.
And had like
I'm like,
black
send
leather.
them to the group chat
Yeah,
immediately.
I will. And she had like flower glasses. It was the most amazing thing. And like people knew what was up. Like we got to the stadium and we were waiting in the merch line.
Yes.
And this girl walked past me and she like did one of these and she kept walking and then she looked back again and she came up to me. She's like, I'm so sorry. Are you Manon? And I was like, you bet I am.
Yes,
she was like, oh my God. And we exchanged.
Book girlies.
Oh my
Taylor
God.
Swift
We
herself is a book
social
girly. You
medias,
can't tell
and
me she's not reading the same books.
No. Nope. And so we exchanged like social media handles and she immediately started following me and I immediately started following her. And then like by the time we got to our seats, we were walking kind of in like the main, like the midway area, and we were getting to our seats and there was like, you know, a lot of people kind of walking back and forth. And we're getting ready to walk to our seats, and we passed this kind of like big group of ladies. I don't know if they were like a bachelorette party or something, but they were all like dressed up in, you know, whatever. It was right around Halloween time. And I make it probably 15 feet past this group. And all of a sudden I hear, Manon Blackbeak! And I turn around and they're like, woo! Oh my God. It was like the coolest thing ever. Like Swifties. Oh God, we're the best.
Yes.
It's true.
It's great.
It is true.
Yep.
Well, this has been so much fun. Soul healing, lots of laughs, everything that we needed today. Thank you so much for joining us. This was the best.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Whenever you're ready for wigs and wine, we'll do it.
Yep.
Putting it on the calendar now.
Like literally, let's plan this.
Right now.
Drink some wine and then our Manon meetup because things we did.
Yes. And before we let you go, we can take like our first official picture together. We do the Swiftie heart hands.
Oh,
and I'll just like screenshot.
Wait, let me get my thumbs right. Okay.
See, we're adorable. And I'll screenshot it, and that's our first official picture.
It's always heart hands and a head tilt.
Yep, always.
Yes.
Except for Jade, we did cat ears.
We did.
That track.
Yeah. It was so perfect. But thank you so much again. It was so wonderful to sit down and finally talk with you and actually get to meet you. But we will chat soon.
1,000,000%. Thanks so much, ladies.
We love you.
Bye.